The biggest buzz at London Marathon this year wasn't just the racing, it was around Nomeo. It's a performance shot used by athletes like Cole Hocker and Connor Mance. Nomeo is used before their key sessions and races, whether it's breaking the American marathon record or getting a world championship gold in Tokyo. What's also interesting is how widely it's being adopted, because it's not just by established elites. Emerging talents like Sam Ruth, the 16-year-old prodigy, swears by the product and is already making waves. Check it out for yourself at drinknomeo.com, and if you're in Australia or New Zealand, you can find it at Aid Station and The Running Company.
But someone who didn't come 10th, someone who came first was Ellie Pashley in an awesome run. She was probably one of very few people who had a positive split of less than a minute. I reckon the vast majority were way more than that, including myself, which was around 5 minutes. So Ellie proper schooled everyone on how to run a marathon on Sunday. So Ellie, describe the build up to us and the race. So take it away, Ellie.
Sure. So as Nick said, lucky to get away with the win. I still did a positive split, but I think it was probably only maybe 50 seconds or so. I was happy with that. I mean, I think my race plan going in was maybe a little more conservative for a few other reasons. So I had a bit of a cold the week leading in, and I don't know, we recorded on the Wednesday night, and I think I'd sort of felt like I was fighting it off for a couple of days. Everyone in my house was sick. And then I woke up Thursday morning feeling like it had sort of gone to my head, like a bit of a head cold. And then I was stressing about that for Thursday, Friday. Saturday, I actually started feeling a bit better. So I reckon I had the two bad days were kind of Thursday, Friday, which was good. But I was still, I don't know. I was just worried. I think maybe a combination of having not run a marathon for a couple of years and just feeling a bit flat, not sleeping very well, which I think was maybe because I was stressing about the race more than anything. I kind of decided, because initially, like we talked about, I did the Geelong Half Marathon in 74-ish minutes. So I kind of thought, I thought I could run under 2:30 maybe, hopefully. But I just wasn't sure how it was going to feel later in the race. So looking at the conditions, I know, I feel like we underestimated the conditions a bit before. I don't know if you think so, Nick, but like it was looking like it was going to be getting, it looked like it was going to be getting warm late, and it was windy, but we were like, well, the wind's sort of in a good direction for the way the course is structured, but there's still going to be parts of the course where you've got a pretty strong headwind, and even for a lot of it, like a crossy headwind, crossy tailwind on those long straight bits of road. So I think, I kind of talked to Jules the day before, and he was like, you're just going to have to see how you feel and let how you feel dictate what pace you run. So pretty much I was like, I'd said to Cam and Jeff, like, I don't want to run any faster than 75 minutes through halfway, and I don't know how I'm going to feel, so I might just have to tell you when we're out there, which, kind of worked well, really, because we started the race and, all the stress I'd had leading into it, as soon as we started the race, I actually felt really good. So that kind of left my system, which was great. It was just that unknown, I guess. And then the first K's uphill. So I'd said to Jeff, let's just cruise up this hill. Like, I don't care what this split is, because, we'll settle into a rhythm once we get to the top of that hill. But I think we still ended up running like low 3:30s up the first hill, and it just felt easy. So, we just settled in. We had a huge pack at the start. Jeff gave everyone a serve about 4Ks in, keep out of Ali's way, because there were so many guys in our pack. And he was like, we're like that. We've got a good pack. We're all settled. He's like, just make sure she can get to the drink stations. Don't get in her way, which was great. And then everybody, it sort of lightened the mood a bit in the pack. Like there was a bit of laughing.
So lucky, because that would have been so nice.
The drink station chat. Yeah. It was good, yeah. And I think it kind of lightened the mood in the pack a bit as well. Like everyone sort of relaxed and laughed, and I don't know. It was good. But I still missed 2 of my drinks despite that. Not through anyone else's fault but my own.
We'll get on to the drink tables and the problems with the drink table.
Yeah. I mean, probably, to be honest, I reckon for us girls it was better because there were way less drinks by the time we came through. But I still, like, 2 of them I couldn't actually see my drink till I'd gone past. And then I completely forgot about the halfway table. I was too excited, I think, by all the crowd coming through halfway that I just completely missed that one. So yeah. But I put heaps of drinks out, so it didn't matter. I knew that I'd be fine. Like I had far excess of what I needed. So yeah, we just rolled around. First lap felt really comfortable, and I kind of felt like I got to know the course. I got to work out where the wind was, where I needed protection, where we could sort of let it roll a little bit quicker. It's kind of like a false flat almost for the first, what is it, Nick? Do you reckon like 7 or 8 Ks, and then you kind of turn and you're running slightly downhill back towards the lake?
Looking at Strava, it looks pretty flat, except the dip in the park. So I found coming out of the park, running straight into the northerly up the hill was the toughest bit, but the rest is really flat. Like as in, like there, it pops up a little bit before the turnaround up the end of Sturt Street.
Yeah.
But other than that, it is flat.
It might have just been that you had sort of a crossy headwind when you were going out, and then like crossy tailwind on the way back. So it kind of the effort definitely felt harder there. And then I felt like once we turned and got to 10K, I felt really good, like 10 to 24K or so comfortable. Around the lake, we still had, I still had Cam pacing me, and our pack had decimated really quickly. So it went from like 50 people to 4 or 5, I reckon, by the time we were on the lake. But I still had Cam sitting in front of me taking the wind. Tailwind was awesome on that other side of the lake coming back towards town. And then that like downhill into halfway is really fun, but also I reckon trashes your legs a bit just before the second loop. And then you kind of turn and you run back up. So I reckon you come out of that long downhill, and that was for everybody who had a really hard day. It sounds like that was the bit that got them, that 21 to 25 or so K up the hill through the park.
Also, when you're going down that hill, you're copping it on the way out, so you can't really enjoy the hill as much as you can on the second lap because that's it. So I did find it psychologically, you go down a hill, but you're going to have to go back out, and then the half marathoners drop out, and you're just then isolated going up that hill. That was like you say, that was definitely the hardest part of the course.
Yeah, and you come from being like running down the hill, there's people everywhere screaming, like it was a really good crowd, and then once you sort of come out of that, it really quietens down when you get to like 22K or so. But yeah, like I actually still felt really good at that stage, and then we linked up. A few guys that had started with us and then taken off thought we were going too slow. We caught back up to them coming up the hill into the second lap, and then we kind of again had a little group through Vic Park, which was good, but that Vic Park on the second lap was so much blowier. I don't know if you found that as well, Nick.
Yeah. And the sun came out at 9 a.m. and so that second lap, the sun came out, the wind got up, and it just felt like running into a hairdryer on that second lap. So when did Cam drop out? Like, because you still had him during that section?
Yeah, so I had him up until 32K. So he actually didn't drop out. He finished, but I think I put 11 minutes in. No, 13 minutes into him in the last 10K. So he'd really expended everything into all the hard bits. And I think that was it. Like, we got to 30K and I said to Cam, so we'd turned by that stage and we were coming back, and I said to Cam, I felt like we'd slowed a little bit, which not because of him. Like I had slowed a little bit on that last 5K or so, kind of heading out on Remembrance Drive. And I said to him, you go, Cam. Like, I'm just going to get to the finish now, but you go, because I thought he was still fine. And he was like, no, I'm staying with you. And then we got to 32K and he was like, I'm gone. Sorry, I can't. I can't keep going at this pace. So then he dropped off, and then there was like Andrew McIntosh, who I've done a little bit of training with. He's got a house in Moggs. He had gone off on us, I reckon, at about maybe like 27, 28K. He dropped us. So he was up the road. And then Sean White, another guy who I think is from Bendigo, he was still with me at that stage, but he was kind of looking good and he dropped me along that straight as well. And then we turned into the headwind on the lake, and I was like, well, it got really, really hard at like 33, 34K. But I kind of like, I don't know, I think I'd sort of spoken to Jules about this the day before too. I just let the conditions kind of dictate my pace. Like, I didn't push into the headwinds. I allowed it to slow me down, and then I tried to push in with the tailwinds and downhills. And I think I kind of, on the last lap, I was basically just telling myself, just get to, 36, 37 when you start to turn out of the headwind. And then, you've just got to get to the finish, but you're not going to be fighting the elements from that point. So, I kind of got to 38K and almost felt good. Like, I had a bit of recovery, I think, once we turned out of the wind, and then I started feeling good again and kind of picked up the pace again for the last 4K or so to the finish. But yeah, I had no idea where second was.
I think you were going faster than me for that last 6K, I think.
Was I? Yeah. Well, you must have lost your 5 minutes somewhere. Yeah. So yeah, I was pleasantly surprised when we went through halfway in just under 75, like 74.55, and I was like, that actually felt pretty comfortable, and we were pretty much bang on what I was hoping we'd be able to run. But I probably knew that the second half was going to get tougher, and I just wasn't sure how long I was going to have Cam for. But kind of like lost a little bit of time, I reckon, in probably from 24 to 35K, and then got to the end. First time I've ever won a marathon, so that was fun.
Yes. Did you have Risley pacing for how long?
Yeah, so Jeff, so he was doing the half, and I think he'd had a bit of a niggle earlier on in the block, or he hurt his back, and so he was like, I'll still do the half, but I don't think I'll be able to race it anymore, so I'll just try and help you for as long as I can. So he jumped in for the first 10K, and then at 10 he was like, sorry, Ellie, I'm done. Yeah. But yeah, it was good. Like, he's so tall and he's, so smooth. Cam Smith as well, who was pacing too, he's like a metronome. So I kind of knew it was a great combination. It was awesome. And Cam, I've done heaps of training with, so I feel like I knew he was going to be good. I knew he wouldn't talk to me and annoy me. He'd just like do the job and do it really well. So that was awesome.
Yeah.
How about people who talk to you during races? It's so annoying. Like, I'll chat to you until the cows come home after the race or before the race, but during, don't talk to me. I don't want to say anything. I need all of that oxygen. Whereas you got people going, oh, what are you going to run today, Nick, and stuff. You're just like, shush.
You need all that oxygen. The way you breathe, you need all the oxygen.
Wow, Leanne. Wow.
I don't mind like the odd little comment in a marathon, but not too much. And not that question, like what, especially on a day like that when you don't know what you're going to run, because it was windy, it was warm, like, maybe you sort of know roughly what pace you're going to go out on, but surely the person who's running beside you can tell what pace you're running. So can't they work that out themselves?
This was like in the first K or whatever. But yeah, I know it. And fair play. Like some people are just like, oh, how's the family? You're just like, okay, come on, shush.
Yeah.
We can
There's a
chat
job at
afterwards.
hand.
But yeah, exactly. But Ellie, your pack, I saw this humongous bunch of people on that first lap with Jeff at the front, and I heard you go Nick. You sounded so chill. I was like, I can't even see her because there's so many people in front of her blocking her from the wind. I was just so jealous. Oh my goodness, that looked like a great pack. And you said, but it fell apart around the lake on the first lap.
Yeah. So I was actually right up the front. I was sitting right on Cam and Jeff. And I didn't realize how many people were behind us until I could see Jeff like looking around, kind of making, because you know what guys are like too sometimes in the first few Ks of the marathon, they're so antsy and like it was quite erratic, people moving all around the pack, and then a few people I could tell were like, no, these guys are going too slow, so they were taking off. And I looked around just once and I was like, geez, there's like 50 people here. And then I didn't actually look around again until we got to the lake, so I was assuming there was still 20 or 30 guys behind me, and it was just gone. Yeah, it was kind of good being up the front of the pack. I think when there's that many people, you don't really want to be in the middle or at the back because like you said, the drink stations are hectic and it's
So while we're on the drink stations, I'll just for the audience so that they know what we're talking about. It's so you get elite drinks, and we're very lucky in that we get to choose our own drinks and have them out on a table. That's fantastic. But what they did in Ballarat was they put it on the smallest table you can imagine, and they just bunched them all together randomly. So there was no order. So every marathon I've done where we've had drinks, there's always been like at least 3 elite tables, and depending on your bib numbers, they'll put some on this one, some on this one. Usually females would be like behind the males, and then they'll push them forward as they go, kind of based on expected times, etc. Obviously, you don't need to go to that much effort for Ballarat, but you do need to have some kind of order on the table because like it was so random and they just clumped them all together. So every drink table, I just had to stop and find my drink, which was horrendous when you're in a pack, and especially in the first lap when you're in a pack of half marathoners, and then you spend 5 seconds on that 6K drink table looking for my drink because I knew I needed it, and it was ended up being behind 2 big bottles. I couldn't see it, and I was like, where is it? It was just so there's so many things which was super professional about Ballarat, and it was so good. But the drink tables, they need to work on that next year because everybody was struggling. And when you're trying not to break stride, to grab a drink. This was the opposite. Yeah. So anyway, but you said it wasn't too bad for you, Ellie?
Well, I think it depended on who was on each table because sometimes I got, because probably by the time I was going through, it was really only the women left, and the women's elite field wasn't very big. There were maybe 12 or 13 of us, but some of the drink tables, it was like the whole table was empty, but they had them all clumped together, and so I just had a pop top, which so did 80% of people, and so I couldn't see it until I was like basically going past it. So that was how I missed 2 of them. And then, but then some of them, they were a little bit more spread out. So I don't know if the people that were working on them had deliberately kind of spread them out once the men had taken theirs so I think it was variable, but it would have been a lot worse for you guys. Definitely. Because even the one table it seemed like even a lot of drinks for the one table just for the women to know, coming in where you had to kind of be looking. But did you get all of yours or did you miss some?
No, I missed a good chunk of them, but I mean there were 13 drinks tables, so I kind of put a load out just to basically make sure I got some, but I made sure I got my Mortons, which is where I knew I'd put the Mortons. I would just make sure I'd get that bottle because like you lose 5 seconds when you're looking for your drink bottle, but you can lose minutes towards the end of a race if you're not fueled. So I just knew like whatever happens, I'm going to get this drink bottle. But on that first one where I lost about 5 seconds, suddenly you look up and the group's 30 meters away, and you just then have to make a decision. Do I try to go back to that group, or do I kind of just wait for the next group or whatever? Because, you've just, it ends up being a fartlek, which is the last thing you want, like 6K into a marathon. So I missed a couple, but I made sure I got all my my Mortons. And basically, like, I put one on Strava, like a video of Max got of me collecting my drink, and that was the best one of the whole day, and it's still terrible.
Yeah.
So you can watch that on my Strava.
I think I saw that.
I was solo at the time.
Geez, he's going slow.
Thanks, Ellie. That's it's a real boost for me hearing that.
I was trying to work out if that was into the headwind on the lake on the second lap or what. The
that was like the 31K mark.
Was it? Because we were running with the half marathoners. Like, it was fine for me because I had my my paces, but because they're not slowing down to get drinks, like, they're hammering. So I can see how you would lose a pack so easily when not everybody is needing to do that. And even with the sporadic drink, like with 13 drink stations, a lot of people didn't seem to have them out at every station. So yeah, it was a bit all over the shop. But anyway, it was good to have the option of 13, because especially in that heat, I was pretty thankful that we had a couple of extras, to be honest. Because I like to have quite a few gels, but I also put a couple of extra bottles out with electrolytes, and then just had water in a lot of them too. And what I didn't drink, I was dousing on myself from very early on, basically.
Let's have a quick break to talk about Nomeo, because it's something that I've been looking into recently. The concept is pretty simple. You take it about 3 hours before a hard session or race. It's made from broccoli sprout juice, which contains an active substance called ITC. ITC has been shown to help reduce lactic acid buildup and oxidative stress during high intensity efforts. What's interesting isn't just that sessions can feel smoother, it's what happens over time. If you're able to handle hard workouts better and recover more consistently, you can stack quality sessions. And that's really where performance gains come from. Over the past year, we've seen many elite athletes start using it. Guys like Cole Hocker, Connor Mance, and Andreas Algren. Andreas, who has had a huge season last year with his triple European records. I was so intrigued by the research and the results of Nomeo that I reached out to the team to learn more. And after trying it myself, I can only wonder about what part they played in all the records that were set at London Marathon this year. If you want to check it out yourself, it's at drinknomeo.com. And if you're in Australia or New Zealand, you can find it at Aid Station and all over at the running company.
So, Ellie, just take us through just post race, and what did you do? Like, as in, you went back into the elite rooms, and you kind of then had to wait around for the prize givings and stuff, and you were chatting away to people. Like, just take the listeners through, like, what it's like to win a race like that, and what the kind of procedures are afterwards.
Yeah, so as soon as I crossed the line, I just had to have a couple of interviews with some of the media people, which when I first crossed the line, I actually felt okay. I was fairly up and about and fine. I was really thirsty, so I was trying to get water. And then Mum was there at the finish line with Tiggy, so she jumped over and came with me. And then we just walked through. There were a few photos and things like that. And then I started feeling really sick, like I was going to throw up. And they're taking all these photos of me holding the medal. And I was just thinking, don't vomit, don't vomit, don't vomit. And then I saw
There's
my
one
sister.
way you do, your smile just isn't, your smile does not go to your eyes. It's just very much like it's almost a grimace. It's a very funny photo.
That was exactly when that was the photo, the moment I was telling myself, don't vomit. And then I saw my sister and I was like, can you get me a vomit bag because I'm going to be sick? And then, so then I spent like about 5 minutes lying on the ground vomiting after that. So this was all probably more than 5 minutes after the race.
It came up.
It came up, I think, because I drank so much more than I normally do. But I felt fine while I was running. It was just when I stopped. This actually happens to me after almost every marathon and half marathon, but it's not usually as delayed. But yeah, then we were really lucky. We had the elite lounge, which was in the building right at the finish line upstairs. Was it the town hall, Nick, or the?
Yep.
Yep. And so we were able to sort of go from the finish line around the corner and then shoot off straight up into there. And they had food, drinks, like chairs, mats you could lie on the floor, pastries, all sorts of stuff. So that was really good. And that was amazing before the race, having that right beside the start line. Toilets, yeah, just like made it very easy and very low stress. They just walked us out to the start line 10 minutes before the race. We were allowed to do a couple of strides and then lined up and went. So I just went back up there and I had to do like I'd told Sam Toll I'd do an interview with him, and then I got really sick. So then he came up there and we did it up there after. And then, I just sort of floated around chatting on my way back to the hotel. I think I got back to my hotel with 2 minutes to spare before checkout, and then had a quick shower and then went down to presentations. So yeah, it's funny. Like what time did I finish? Like 10:30, but it took me an hour and a half to get back to the hotel, which was like 300 meters away. Just like my family were there watching, my mum and dad and my sisters
so much
were there.
longer.
I know, and I didn't get drug tested or anything. It was just like, and like heaps of people, because the Surf Coast is only like an hour and a half away from Ballarat. Heaps of people from our training group were running, and it's just, one of those Victorian events where you feel like you kind of know everybody there. So it was pretty fun.
You go to the pub in the evening?
I went to the pub after the presentations. I went to the pub for a bit. And then, but I had to drive. So I had to drive home because Jost didn't end up coming. Bobby was really sick, long story. And so he was up all night at home with Bobby, and he went to bed at he didn't get to bed till 4:30, and he was meant to be leaving at 5:30 to come to Ballarat. Yeah, so he'd had a really rough day. So after I went to the pub for a bit, had lunch, had a beer, and then I was like, I actually have to go home and help my family because, poor Jost is really taking one for the team here. And, and Bobby had been sick too, so I kind of wanted to get home and make sure he was okay. But, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Well done, Ellie. That was great. And I was just dying after the race, but I was so chuffed when I heard that you'd won and then won really easily. So that was great.
Thanks, Nick.
I do have a question for you, Ellie. So obviously it's been a while since you did a marathon last. What was there anything that you'd actually sort of forgotten about doing the marathon? So did you forget the feeling, or were you even worried about, not really remembering the feeling beyond the half marathon, or even just preparation for a marathon? Because even I'm thinking towards my next one, I'm gonna have to pull out that checklist again for being fully prepared for a marathon. Was there anything that you just forgot, while you were racing or something, or when you were getting ready, you're I actually forgot that this is what it takes in the marathon?
Yeah, I was really worried about that. I was really worried that I hadn't really felt that late marathon feeling at all in training, which I know is something, whether or not you actually want to feel that in training or not, I'm not sure. But I was really worried about that, just because you do kind of forget what it feels like. It comes back pretty quickly at 33.5 Ks.
I'm sure.
Oh yeah, I remember this. But I was really worried that I wasn't going to be able to push myself in that last 10K. I was worried that I'd forgotten how to do that, and I'd felt like my block was just a bit frustrating. I felt slightly underdone on mileage. I hadn't done a heap of long run workouts, which I think that was why I was worried about not knowing that feeling of later stages of the marathon. It had been just a bit up and down, and I think I'd felt like that the stress of all of that had taken a bit out of me, and I was worried that it was going to take that ability to fight out of me, if that makes sense, because I think in the past when
Yeah.
I've also trained really, really hard, I sometimes find that then when I get to the race, maybe I don't have that much left. So I was a little bit nervous about that. But yeah, weirdly, I actually felt like I was able to, once I got to that point, I was actually able to dig pretty deep and
You can do it. Yeah.
I just needed to be in it. It was like all the lead-in stuff before that I was worried about. And then once I was in it, I was like, no, this is fine. I can do this. And when you know you've got like 30 minutes left, 20 minutes left, you're like, well, all I have to do is just keep running. Like, I don't know. It was
yeah. There's no way I'm not finishing.
I was worried. Yeah, exactly. And I can push. This is really painful, but I know I can push through this. And a lot of it, as much as it had been a bit of an up and down block, a lot of hard work had gone in, and that was enough to make me go, no, I need to just like really make the most of this. I knew I wasn't going to run super fast, but I was like, that's okay. I need to try and, I don't know where second is. Like, she might be coming for me. So I need to run as hard as I can to the finish just in case, because I had felt like I'd slowed a bit through that middle. And yeah, I don't know. And all this stuff in the prep, I was a bit frazzled the day before. Just before I saw you, Nick, I realised, so Tom DeCanto had messaged me to tell me that there were 13 drink stations instead of 8. And so I hadn't really been prepared for that. And so I was like making up my drinks, and that I was a bit frazzled about that because I wasn't organised like I have been in the past. And I think I just forgot how long all that stuff takes and how you kind of need to sit down and concentrate and do it. And I should have done it that morning or whatever. I'm trying to do it just before I go to turn my drinks in. So a few things like that I'm like, okay, I know this for next time now. I need to be a bit more prepared. But everything else was fine. The carb load I don't find hard at all. I find that quite easy. And then, I mean, I had like, it doesn't matter, even if I forget my watch, which I sometimes do for sessions, I was like, it actually doesn't matter for today. So it was, once I was there. And once I got to Ballarat, I could relax as well and switch off a bit more. So, yeah.
Yeah, the drinks, I did regret having seen the first drink table, which I didn't use after like 3K. I was like, oh shit, I really should have decorated my bottles better because of the hecticness of the and then I was like, we could have had an arts and craft day with Matilda, and made a bit of fun rather than me just putting like physio tape on the bottles or whatever. Just like, yeah, that would have been some like useful prep time. But yeah, like, and I saw yours, you just had some of your little COVID stickers on it, Ellie, and I was like, oh, I'm not sure that's gonna, because there's so many pop tops, and I think like some companies should make ones without a blue lid as well, just so that there's some variety out there. Because it's the sea of pop tops. You're like, no, okay. So that's definitely something to remember, Leanne. Like, for next time, just make sure you decorate your bottles so you can see them far off. But then remember that other people decorate them very loudly too. So sometimes just this like noisy coloured thing. Anyway, I think we've talked about the tables enough. But yeah, that was probably the worst thing about the whole business, to be honest. So all right. Well, I think if I'll whistle through my race. Then we'll when you do your segments, you two, and then cause I'm looking forward to Leanne's Warrior of the Week and Ellie's observation.
I just want to end this episode with a quick shout out to Nomeo. After trying it in my own training, I'm convinced, and every elite athlete I follow also seems to be on it. Using it before hard sessions or races is a game changer, and I can't imagine doing one now without broccoli in my veins. You can find out more for yourself at drinknomeo.com. Doesn't matter if it don't come back.